Hello, my name is Jeff Rolka. Thank you for checking out my video. This is Questions from Comments 61, where I read all the comments on my videos. It's just me back here, behind the curtain, though there is no curtain. So I read all your comments when they come in, and if you have questions and you drop them in the comments, sometimes there's some really juicy ones that I think we can all benefit from reflecting on, and then I make these videos. So this is the 61st series, Series 61, not to be confused with Area 51. So Series 61, and I got some really great questions. This is the first of the two. I do these as separate videos so you can watch them at your leisure as opposed to one ginormous video. Let's get into it, shall we? I've talked long enough already. In your opinion, what is the most underdeveloped part of the voice that often gets neglected by singers? Also, from your experience of being a vocal coach, what are some of the biggest misconceptions about vocal pedagogy and vocal technique that could help or hinder you depending on where you get your information? Your videos have really cleared up a lot of confusion I've had about vocal technique, ... I feel like there should be a third dot there, but that's fine. I think I might have accidentally deleted it when I was copying this question over. Beautiful question. And I really, really appreciate the opportunity to speak to this. For those that don't want the full elaboration, the most underdeveloped part of the voice, believe it or not, your chest voice. The vast majority of vocalists that I have had the pleasure of working with on an individual level, and quite frankly, at this point, that's gotten to be a fairly sizable number of people, come into it assuming that the chest voice is working. And except for vocalists who have already had a fair number of high-quality singing lessons, this has not been the case. The chest voice is almost always assumed to be working. It is almost always assumed to be functioning properly. And the balance of vocal fold engagement and subglottic air pressure in sort of the kind of common parlance, one might say vocal cord closure and support. So vocal fold engagement, vocal fold adduction, that's vocal fold closure. And subglottic air pressure is quote-unquote support. The vast majority of people assume that those things are already working well for them. I've had many people tell me that. I don't need work on my breathing. I've got it dialed in. I was a fill in the blank. I studied Pilates. I did yoga. I did, woodwinds, brass winds. I am a marathon runner. I know how to breathe, like all these sorts of things. And the fact of the matter is that I speak from experience in this case because I assumed that I had those things in play. I assumed I knew what breathing for singing was, and it held me back for years. So don't be like me in this regard. Develop a curiosity. Most of these things can be answered with very simple questions. What is support? If you can't answer that in fairly simple terms, or by pointing to your body and saying, well, I do these three things, and that is the process by which I approach apagio breath management, then it might require further investigation. So if you asked me, well, Jeff, what is apagio breath management? How do I harness that for my singing? I would say it starts with lateral expansion of your rib cage and then affirming of your core body muscles. And at that point, you have established subglottic air pressure below your epiglottis, and you can begin to sing. 3 steps. That's it. Now, unpacking that might take a little bit of investigation, but that is it in a nutshell. If you do those 3 things as part of your apagio breath management practice, you will be on the right path. There's a lot of misinformation about what it is to support one's voice. You can easily find that online. I don't need to go over it or reiterate it, which is to say reinforce it here. So I will say, develop your chest voice. What does that even mean? That's one way of developing the chest voice. There, you can hear that I'm singing the 5 cardinal vowels, and they are balanced. But there is another aspect to this too, which is to have the flexibility to make vowel modifications as you move into your zona di passaggio. So if I show you here, this is D above middle C. This is just into my, you know what? Let's do A flat instead. That'll give you a bit more, you'll be able to hear it more easily here. So that A flat is about halfway through my zona di passaggio. I have to do vowel modifications to keep my voice consistent. Paradoxical, right? I got to change it to keep it the same, but that's what's happening. So as I sing those 5 cardinal vowels, if you listen carefully, you'll hear me modify them as I ascend, and then I will take it away as I descend. Modify, remove, modify, remove. Change it to keep the same. And that kind of brings us to the second part of your question, which is, from my experience of being a vocal coach, what are some of the biggest misconceptions about vocal pedagogy and vocal technique? In a nutshell, my break is about, it feels like the top side of this F or the bottom side of this F sharp. So it's just in there, okay? So that means that if I'm going to sing a scale that goes over those 2 notes, I'm going to sing over my break, over my secondo passaggio. An untrained vocalist, similar to myself, would frequently sound like this. Or they might even do something like, and it would stay in that airy kind of phonation all the way down. But we can learn to keep the sound consistent. What am I doing there? I'm not belting. I am singing over my secondo passaggio, but I am keeping the sound consistent. This is called voce piena in testa. And frequently, untrained vocalists, or those who have never had vocal lessons, or those who've had lessons that were maybe not all they could be, if I'm generous, will be told that you can keep belting and belting and belting and you'll get higher and higher and higher, and this is patently false. I don't know that I've said that quite so distinctly on the channel, but there it is. It is patently false. In order to make the registration event, in order to keep going higher and higher, you have to learn to make that registration event work. It happens in different places for different vocal range designations, different Fox. So tenors, baritones, mezzo-sopranos, altos, sopranos will all have these registration events. They are a natural part of our voices. We have to learn to keep the vocal folds adducted, but allow them enough flexibility to elongate. And then you can do what I just did. It is a natural part of learning to use your voice. But too frequently, it gets overlooked, or it gets packaged in ways that makes it sound like it's, I don't know what it is. Or we're sold the easy way out. Just belt it out. Too frequently have I heard that. Now, that's not to say that you're not going to belt from time to time. You might want to do that. And there are healthy, constructive, informed ways to do just that. But here's the thing. A lot of it is predicated on learning how to do what I just showed you. And you might ask, where am I going to learn to do that? That's what my channel is for. That is basically the whole point of this whole thing, is to learn how to do what I just did, to sing over your secondo passaggio, in my case, the so-called break, if you like, and keep the sound consistent. Great question. I am so grateful to have had the opportunity to address it here, and I do hope that helps. If you got follow-ups, something was unclear, want further explanation, that's what the comments are for. Please let me know. Thank you again if you've chosen to subscribe, and a big thank you to thank you to my Patreon supporters. I truly appreciate the support. Really means a lot to me. It helps me keep this whole thing rolling. So thank you. Until next time, take really good care of your voices. Enjoy singing. Hopefully we'll see you again. Bye.